Hey everybody, this is going to be The Bad Batch episode 3 titled Replacement video. And I thought this was a pretty good episode. But anyway, the episode starts off with like Hunter distributing rations. Wrecker wants more, but the food is low. Omega, trying to be helpful, offers hers, but Hunter stops Wrecker from taking it. She's just a kid. She needs the food more, to be honest. Um, Echo says that the ship's been hit pretty hard after leaving Seleucami. This takes place like right after they left. So they just got like shot up a lot. Meanwhile, Tech is working on a scanner to test the functionality of their inhibitor chips. To see if maybe removing them is necessary. Probably. Not long after they get pulled out of hyperspace and are on a crash course for a nearby moon. Riker here is freaking out, trying to keep composure for Omega's sake. He also gets his head hit pretty hard in the crash. After the rough landing, they start doing diagnostics again, and one of the energy capacitors is damaged. Omega pulls out what she thinks is a capacitor, but it's actually Crosshair's weapons kit. The rest of the batch gets sad, and Riker even says he misses Crosshair. Tech says that it's possible that Crosshair isn't responsible for his actions. He might just be under the influence of his inhibitor chip, and he probably is. Now, speaking of Crosshair, we see him for the first time after episode 1. And they're running some tests on him on Camino. And this guy, Admiral Rampart, walks in to talk to Tarkin. Tarkin commends him on the chain code implementation and asks him about the new project, War Mantle. Basically, Project War Mantle is the transition from just using clones to using conscript soldiers with clone commanders. Crosshair being one of those clone commanders. And here's Crosshair's new squad. And this kind of reminds me a bit of those like CIA and Army like propaganda videos where they try to seem woke by being like multicultural. It's like, yes, our first multicultural kill squad in the Empire. Uh, Back to the batch. They are able to replace the capacitor, but there's, you can see, uh, right here, something's crawling along the outside of the hull. And while Tech and Echo are distracted by claw marks on the ship, uh, this creature right here takes the capacitor and runs. Back on the ship, Wrecker's making a lot of noise about his head hurting. He did hit his head during the crash, but I'm wondering, this could be nothing, but maybe he hit like where his inhibitor chip is, and it might have started working again. I don't know. I hope not, but it's a possibility. They seem to be making a point that his head hurts. Um, Echo informs Hunter about the status of the ship, but then the power goes out, and then they see the creature right here with the capacitor in the window, and gives everybody a scare. Tech says it's an Ordo moon dragon, and that they feed on raw energy. Hunter hesitantly lets Omega go along on the mission with them to hunt down the moon dragon. He just doesn't want her to get hurt. We get back to like Crosshair and his new squad. And this guy is basically showing the reason why a lot of people might conscript into the military: poverty, the promise of housing or education. The next thing they know, they're being shipped to their death. And especially in this case, the Empire doesn't care about him at all. Tarkin wants to test the new squad, and he wants them to go wipe out Saw Gerrera's camp back on Onderon. Meanwhile, Omega is trying to learn from Hunter, though it's unclear whether she would even be able to learn his tracking technique because it's a special enhanced ability. Um, but I think they might be prepping her to be like a jack of all trades, maybe even force sensitive. I don't know. So she'll probably become a really good tracker and really good fighter, really good marksman, etc. Um, they talk about Crosshair a bit. Hunter isn't angry at Crosshair, he's angry at himself for leaving him behind. Hopefully they're able to get him back and, fix him up and everything. They'll probably have to do it by force. Crosshair and his squad are on their way to Onderon, and this dude being a dick to Crosshair for like no reason, wondering why they put a clone in charge, etc. Crosshair really not the guy to be saying this kind of shit to. The inhibitor ship like makes him like stone cold. They land and begin their assault. Here we have Hunter and Omega. Like they're able to find the capacitor, but the creature attacks them from the shadows and knocks Hunter's like rebreather off his face, and he loses oxygen and passes out. Omega saves him, but he stays unconscious. Omega takes the flashlight and Hunter's blaster and follows the creature into the hole. And back to Crosshair and his squad, they easily like took out all the rebel combatants, and Rebel here sniping the pilot as they attempt escape. Crosshair starts questioning and immediately kills her after she says she wouldn't tell him anything. And we have the same trooper that was giving Crosshair shit earlier speaks up that they should bring them in because they're civilians. Crosshair kills him and makes the other troopers finish the mission. Good soldiers follow orders. Not long after, Omega finds the capacitor, but she comes face to face with the creature. Meanwhile, Hunter wakes up and starts looking for her. But she's able to trade the flashlight for the capacitor, which the creature greedily accepts. She gets out of the hole, and Hunter was worried about her. She says she completed the mission and didn't even need to use the blaster. And Crosshair and crew, -1, get back to Camino. Tarkin and Rampart are thrilled that the new squad completed the mission, even if one of the conscripts died. Like I said, they don't care about him. The Prime Minister and head of clothing facility are afraid that they might go out of business, so they're planning on producing a superior clone. But we're still kind of unsure on how they're going to do that. They said they need a live specimen, but they probably wouldn't go willingly or whatever. Crosshair and his crew head back to the old Bad Batch barracks. Bad Batch barracks. It seems like it's been cleaned up a bit. Crosshair sits down, and to me, he seems like really sad in this picture. Probably is. He lost all his friends. Now back to the real Bad Batch. They're able to leave the moon, and Wrecker has a surprise for Omega. He made her own room, and Omega's overjoyed. She helped complete the mission, and now Wrecker made her a room. She feels like a real member of the crew. And I thought this was a pretty good episode. We got Omega growing into like a bigger part of the crew, and we got to see Crosshair again, and it's overall a more At least on the side of the Bad Batch, it was a more uplifting episode than the past few. Uh, at least as we were following Omega, the parts following Crosshair were pretty dark. But those were good too, and it's good to see where he's at and what the Empire has planned for him. So, yep, I think that's about it. I thought this was a good episode, and I'm looking forward to the next one. And I'll see y'all next week with this.